Among all living creatures, man alone is placed on Earth without a built-in book of instructions for successful living. Aside from a strong instinct to protect himself with weapons and to better himself with tools, man is born without knowledge of his own nature. Insects, animals, and birds know instinctively and intuitively what they have to do and how they have to act in order to live successfully. They do not have to wonder where they come from, where they're going, what rights and obligations they have, whether they were meant to live free or in bondage. Men, on the other hand, don't even agree on what kind of government best suits their social and economic needs. Man has weak instincts, and to add to his confusions, he has free will, which means that he can successfully contradict his own impulses. Man desires peace, yet is easily stimulated to war. He treasures private possessions, yet justifies stealing. He is capable of both tenderness and brutality. In other words, from the beginning, our ancestors were the original crazy mixed-up kids, and it must be admitted modern man is still far from rational. His only clues to the rules that will assure an orderly, productive life lie in the history of human experience, the written record of the socio-economic experiments and ideas that succeeded and of those that failed. The trouble with record-keeping, however, is twofold. First, man did not learn to write until about 5,000 years ago, and second, most of the writers of history have not always told the truth. In the written history of man, however, can be found a set of operating principles that has been proven many times over to fit the nature of man and to create a climate of progress. By studying these principles, man can gain knowledge of his own nature and learn how to act in ways that benefit rather than injure him. And heading the list is man's most important need, freedom. There is no evidence in history that man can prosper without the exercise of freedom. The most obvious natural trait of economic man is that he does his best work, that is, makes the best use of his muscular and mental energy when he is free. He produces best when he is making his own plans and devising his own methods of carrying them out, with the knowledge that whatever the results may be, they are his results, and that whatever the fruit of his labor may be, they too are his. So it's clear, therefore, that the first requirement of prosperity is individual freedom of choice and action. But I'm not too sure that this story is being properly told to our young people in school, nor has it been properly told for decades. The greatest obstacle to growth and development, to learning and to improved function, or even to continued function on the level already reached, is discouragement, doubt in one's own ability. Our present methods of raising children confront them with a series of discouraging experiences. One either does for them what they could do for themselves, protecting and spoiling them, or one scolds and punishes. In either case, the child is deprived of the experience of his own strength. So if you think for a moment that our kids are not presented with the real facts as to their potential for growth in a free economy, and combine the fact that they are repressed into conformity with minimal standards of achievement, and consider that they see their parents and neighbors living largely parasitical lives, doing no more than they have to in order to squeak by, and that they often live in a home environment of intellectual and creative poverty, and you begin to understand why they carry from 85 to 95% of their true potential for achievement, joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment to the grave with them, unused and undreamed of. The idea is seldom, how much can I do? How far can I go? It is instead, how safe can I play it? How can I get by with a passing grade? How can I keep out of trouble? And the odds are about 95 to 5, give or take a few percentage points either way, that you and I were raised in that kind of an atmosphere, one of passive submission. The way millions live in our society, they might as well be living under a communist or socialist form of government, with all decisions being made for them by a small group at the top. Except for going to the polls on election day, they're really not free at all. They tread a narrow path and live in a state of uneasy anxiety. They're taught to live that way, and they never get over it. I read one time about the headmaster of an English lower grade school who always made it a point to visit a new class and ask the children the same question. He would say, "It's very important that every one of you knows the correct answer to this question. Why are you in school?" One by one, he would ask the children to answer the question, and they would try their best, but never come up with the right answer. After they had all stammered out their wrong answers, he would say, "None of you answered the question correctly. Here is the correct answer. You are in school to learn to think. And the next time I ask you that question, don't just parrot the right answer. Understand it. Think about it. You are in school to learn to think. But we can learn to think through re-education, through realizing what the opportunities are in our society today, and that we're normally functioning on a fraction of our real potential, and realize that we can definitely bring more and more of the power of our minds to bear in our lives. Once a person has learned how to think, he has just about all the advantage he needs in a society such as ours. He can have an interesting, productive, and successful life. He need never remain for long in a situation he finds not to his liking. He can change it, or move from one thing to another. Knowing how to think and thus solve his problems as they arise and the problems of others, he has the kind of inner security that permits him to live abundantly in a state of what others would think of as insecurity all the years of his life. We've all seen people filing through one half of a double door. A long line of them following each other through half of the door and waiting needlessly in line to do it. And then you've seen someone open the other half of the door and breeze through. Immediately, people will plunge in behind him, but it took him to think, to ask himself, I wonder why we're all going through half of that door like a bunch of stupid sheep. It was designed to handle twice the traffic, so he opens it and he goes through life like that, opening obvious doors, at least obvious to him, while others follow his lead. He'll do that in whatever field he chooses, simply because somewhere along the line, he learned to think. Perhaps it was a wise teacher, like our English headmaster. It may have been his mother or father. But somewhere along the line, he learned to the almost limitless power of his mind. He learned to be curious. He learned about the gold mine between his ears, and he formed the habit of using it. Successful people are not people without problems, as a wise educator once put it. Problems are much the same for all of us. Successful people are simply people who've learned to solve their problems. They've learned to think. We mentioned at the beginning that the first requirement of prosperity is individual freedom of choice and action. Does profit do anything? Is it only a result, or does it also cause things to happen that affect our economy? Their conclusion was that good profit, good business performance, and healthy economic progress all go together. But the men who made this study went further. Good profit, they suggested, does much more than parallel good performance. It's one of the essential factors in bringing good performance about. The other essentials named were good management and a good product. In other words, good profit is by no means merely a result. It is also causative, dynamic, and energizing. Of the businesses analyzed, those that earned well had better growth records, with all that connotes of value delivered to consumers, than those that earned poorly. The more profitable companies put more investment, including more retained earnings, into new and improved equipment. They did more research and more innovating. They offered better job opportunities, and they contributed more to community well-being. Thus, the study group suggested that good profit should be regarded as a prime cause of economic and social progress. Profit, they felt, is not merely an end result of the business process, but a lively, functional element that does indeed cause things to happen. Now, this is the point that so many well-meaning but off-base social reformers miss. They keep seeing profit and the average working person as somehow separate and unallied. They fail to see how profit earned by a commercial organization can do any good at all for society as a whole. But that's exactly what it does best. Profits are not drained off and put in vaults or buried in bomb-proof caves. Profits go to work. They're invested right back into the economy in the form of new and better tools, expanded industry, and products and services. Profits go into the pockets of all the people. The best-paid human beings on Earth, with the highest standards of living on Earth, will always be found in the zones of profit. The least profitable a company or a country or an entire part of the world, the more downtrodden will be its people in all areas of their lives. They will have less money, less food, poorer shelter, poorer schools, poorer medical attention, and so on. Profits to a business can be compared to a salary for a person. The more there is, the more gets pumped back into the economy, the more is spent. Cutting down on profits is like cutting down on a man's wages. It doesn't only hurt him and his family. It hurts the whole community. Everybody loses. Even taxes come out of profits. Profit is a prime cause of economic and social progress. It is not merely an end result of a well-managed business, but a lively, functional element that causes things to happen. And I believe that we're swinging around to a well-ordered, human-directed attitude toward business and profits never before known in the human community. I don't think we've even gotten started yet. For every good idea that's been developed in the past, there are 1,000. There are 10,000 yet to be developed. With all great ideas, there was first the long collection of information for the deep well of the subconscious mind, the storage of information. Then, the vision, the great idea itself. Whether it was a sculpture, a book, a great piece of music, a painting, an idea in mechanics or architecture or business or anything. It can come in the middle of the night or while you're eating breakfast on an airplane or watering your lawn, anywhere. And then comes the will, the determination to do the work necessary, no matter how long it takes, to make the idea a thing of reality. The well, the vision, and the will. The 3 steps necessary for the completion of a great idea. It's been written that the road to Xanadu, as we have traced it, is the road of the human spirit, and the imagination, voyaging through chaos and reducing it to clarity and order, is the symbol of all the quests which lend glory to our dust.